Alright, I got some big news for you guys today. Ryley, one of the largest content creators in Clash Royale, one of the best players in the game as well. He got second in the World Finals last year, has gotten banned for 31 days. Now, a few days ago, I made a video about Asaf getting banned, but it was for a different reason. So they're cracking down on something else now, because not just Ryley, dozens of other top players, even hundreds, have now been getting banned, and it's not just for drawing or tying inside of global tournaments, but potentially something else. And me and SK have potentially figured out what the reason is, and I'm going to be getting into that and all the details you guys need to know. I didn't even do anything. I don't even play global tournaments, Ryley said. And he posted this picture here. As you guys can see, it says, account information. Your account has been banned for 31 days due to breach of Supercell Terms of Service, Section 1.1. By the way, I'm going to pull that up towards the end of the video, showing you guys exactly what it says in the Terms of Service, Section 1.1. And it actually makes sense why these bans are being issued. Repeated offenses will lead to a permanent ban of your account. Now, this is different than Asaf, right? Because he was talking about how does it make sense to anyone that I got banned for a draw in a global tournament. And by the way, the crowns didn't affect my position at all. We weren't even crown trading people in the top 50. We're so scared to queue, so I kept facing my same friends. I'm just speechless. I'll, towards the end of the video, link the video that I made about a week ago where I was talking about why people got banned for tying in global tournaments, which I think was justified. But now there's something else going on. It's not for drawing inside of global tournaments, but instead it's for tying with their friends on the top of ladder. Because Ryley that got banned, alongside everyone else, I checked all the accounts and there was one common trend I saw with every single one that got banned. It was Ryley's Takuma account, and he tied with one of his Korean friends here, it looks like. And I confirmed it again. He tied again with one of his Japanese friends on ladder here. You can see this guy that got banned, Tala, if that's how you pronounce it, was tying with another one of his Arabic friends. They tied, as you can see. And it happened here. Another player that tweeted out getting banned, right? I replied that. And Ryley replied, all my accounts tied with players. All my friends tied with players. Mo, Pedro, Lucas, etc. And only some people get banned. Well, here's my reasoning as to why not everyone has been banned yet. Quite simply put, it's because there's so many players that tie, so they just haven't gotten a chance to get around to all the accounts yet. Or it's because it's only people that have tied recently. And I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. And SK was the person that kind of made me think and do research into this and check all the accounts on API, because he was like, newest theory, they're banning for top ladder draws. And that's when I started looking into it, and I'm thinking he's right. So big shout out to SK for being the first one to think of this theory. And then I was, I guess, the second main person that brought this to light and attention. It doesn't help, I'm calling this guy out, it doesn't help that Semi here, who is our new community manager, there's zero communication whatsoever. He retweeted something April 9th ago having to do with the Prince nerf, and then he was the guy that was in on the, code of kindness, April Fool's joke, the guy right there in this video, and he didn't, or anyone for that matter, any sort of community manager, no one communicated why these new bans are coming out. So it just makes us have to make guesses and assume why these things are happening. So this is my reasoning and logic. I checked all the accounts that got banned for 31 days, and all of them intentionally tied with one of their friends on top ladder or in a royal tournament. If that's the case, a 31-day ban is too harsh in my opinion without a prior warning. However, I do think it's fair going forward, because I've always been someone against tying and has always thought it's a weird concept. This is supposed to be a competitive game, and you should be able to put friendships aside, which I'm sure most of you guys can agree with. You see this all the time. Too on streams and chats. People are always confused why they see a creator drawing, or if a streamer spectates a friend on their list who's drawing, or in a global tournament it's people drawing. It's just weird and confusing, right? It has no place in the game in my opinion. The average player doesn't understand it. Most people that play this game, 99% of players that play, they don't tie with their friends. they're matching random people they don't know. This is only something that's unique to top ladder players and pros. It shouldn't be a thing in the game. I feel like it manipulates matchmaking, and it's like if two people are good, that doesn't mean they should tie just because they're friends. They should play it out. That's the point of the game. Think of competitive sports in real life. People compete. Athletes, they play against each other. Friends play against each other all the time. Why is it just because this is like a mobile game and online, it's not the same? I've always been someone that has felt like it's a weird concept. Don't get me wrong. A few years ago, I did used to tie, but that's the thought process I've had just in the past couple of years and why I've stopped tying, because I've just thought it's weird. It's supposed to be a competitive game. So I think it's for the better if people actually get banned for this. And people are like, can you explain this? And I'm like, I'm not sure. Hopefully they can give us an explanation soon. And I'm saying maybe it takes time for them to check all the accounts, or maybe there's a chance it's something else too. Clash Royale Esports said here though, Clash Royale League is growing and we're committed to keeping the competition fair and exciting for everyone. Starting today, we'll carry out more detailed account checks across Clash Royale participants. Remember, any violation of the Supercell terms of service on any of the accounts you play on could result in your temporary or permanent exclusion from CRL. In other words, if you're playing in shady ways on any account, please let this serve as a warning to stop doing so immediately. We'll extend some grace for past actions uncovered before today, but moving forward, violations will be taken much more seriously. Here's what you need to keep in mind. Account sharing, including services or transactions that require sharing account details, is strictly prohibited. Buying or selling accounts is strictly prohibited. Let's continue building an awesome, fair, competitive scene together. Now, here's the thing, though. Ryley, when he got banned, as you can see, it says Section 1.1. I have pulled up the terms of service. As you guys can see here, Section 1.1. And I want to show you guys a specific part on Section 1.1, and this is what the ban is for. Look at use limitations here, and I believe this was recently added and not always here. Check this out. So it talks about engaging in any act Supercell deems to be in conflict with the spirit intent of the service or making proper use of Supercell's support services, yada yada. It's talking about cheats, exploits, all that. Modify or cause to be modified any files that are part of the service. But then look at this here. Disrupt, interfere with, or otherwise adversely affect the normal flow of the service, or otherwise act in a manner that may negatively affect other users' experience when using the service or playing Supercell games. This includes win trading and any other kind of manipulation of rankings, taking advantage of errors in the service to gain an unfair edge over other players, and any other act that intentionally abuses or goes against the design of the service. And that is why, guys, in my opinion, when I was talking about this, I said I do think it's fair going forward because I've always been against someone tying. I've always thought it's a weird concept. But I do think the 31 bans are too harsh without a prior warning. If this is why these bans are happening, and that is my guess, that's my prediction, it doesn't help that the community manager's not talking about it because communication is very important for times like this. But this is my best guess. With everything I know, this is why I think these bans are happening. And I do think going forward, it actually is very fair if we know that's the reason, because I do think ties do manipulate the way the game is played. They shouldn't be a thing. It's not something that everyone has access to. It's just top ladder players and pros that are friends with each other. And I don't know if I'd go as far as saying it's cheating, especially on top ladder, because it doesn't impact the crown system of the game. But when people are tying on the top of ladder, especially if it's two really good players that are equally skilled, I feel like it is kind of manipulating the system a bit, because the way they see it is they're both very good. So if they're playing against someone that's worse than them, they see it as like an easier win. So they're trying to not like beat each other, if that makes sense. And even if that's not the reasoning and they're just like friends and they don't want to like offend each other, I still think that that doesn't really make sense. And this should be like a competitive game, and it would help make things more competitive and just straightforward if, you know, we end up removing draws. And maybe they could implement something like a coin flip, because even though true draws do happen occasionally, they don't happen nearly as often as all the fake draws that go down at the top of ladder. So that's my opinion of why these bans have been happening. And even if that isn't the case, they definitely need to communicate why these bans are happening if it's not that. And if it isn't for this, I do think they should stop these draws from happening, as well as all the win trades going on too, so that way the game is just more fair and it's played how it's supposed to be played. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. If you guys are not subscribed already, you can use creator code BOSS to support me in any Supercell game. And thanks again, until next time, guys.